Hi everyone, welcome to the week number 3 and once again I'm excited that you've been gathering together. Thank you everyone for taking your time and putting the effort and fasting to be the light, to be the salt. Today's lesson, I would like to start again with a time for a prayer. And again, I want to bring our attention to the Holy Spirit. The spiritual life happens only through and by the power of God's Spirit. I want you to be cognizant of that. I want you to be aware of that all the time. And right now, as you pray, think about the passage in 1 Thessalonians 5:19, where the author says, do not quench the Holy Spirit. What does it mean to quench God's Spirit? Well, for me, it's living in a state of ignorance. I ignore the Spirit and His presence in my life, and I don't really need Him. Just by not inviting Him into my life, into my circumstances, into my prayer, into my acts of kindness and mercy, when I'm just by ignoring Him, trying to rely on my own power, doing my own things. So as you pray, just come in the presence of the Holy Spirit and ask Him to lead you, to inspire you, and to be present in your group tonight. Today's story is about the 4 friends that brought their paralyzed friend to Jesus. It's a story of Jesus being in a house, and the house full of people where these 4 cannot even enter the house. They cannot get their ill friend to Jesus. So they come up with an idea to get their paralyzed friend through the roof down to the house for Jesus to touch him. This story is about the good deeds, the act of mercy being a difficult thing to do. So they had to carry their friend. They had to bring him up on the roof. They had to undo the structure to lower that person down into Jesus' presence. And good action, being the light, being the salt, is not that easy to do. So that's where they were able to cross some boundaries. These friends were able to overcome obstacles of the norm, social norm. They had to interrupt the teaching of their rabbi. They had to bring some dirt and hay and clay upon the heads of the people in the room. So they had to disturb the meeting. But they were willing to do so in order to get their friend to the healing touch of Jesus. So my question is, where and in what circumstances are we allowed to break the boundaries, to cross the borders, to do the good? So what are we willing to cross and break, to do something of good and mercy to the people? In what name? In the same story, it literally says that Jesus saw the faith of these people. And my question is, how was Jesus able to detect faith in the life of these people? How is it even possible to see what I'm thinking right now? How are you able to see the sound? How is he able to penetrate the spiritual world and see the unseen? He saw their faith, and my question is, how is it possible? What signs of that faith Jesus was able to detect. And another question is, he saw the faith of 4 people or 5 people? And lastly, are we able to put our faith together to get a more spiritual effect, to get a better penetration into God's throne? You know, what's happening? Do we actually put our faith together as a community to do something good? Can we put our individual faith for the common good? In the same story, Jesus refers to himself as the Son of Man. And that's a common name Jesus adopted for himself. It's him only calling himself by that name. Son of Man doesn't refer to being just a human. It's a reference to a divine person from the book of Daniel. That Son of Man from the book of Daniel enters into the presence of God, and the question is, who is this person who is able to stand in the presence of the Lord? And many believed in Jesus' time that it's the Messiah. It's some sort of a divine entity. And Jesus adopts this phrase, Son of Man, for himself. But the peculiar phrase that Jesus mentions here is that the Son of Man is able to forgive sins on earth. And my questions for you, theologians, is this: why does Jesus add this phrase on earth? If we remove that and say that Jesus would just say simply, the Son of Man can forgive sins of people, what does it change? But he adds that little phrase, on earth. How does this points to his divinity? How does this opens his divine nature? And lastly, it's a bonus question if you're plowing through, if you're able to come to this. It's just a bonus thing. In Galatians, in the book of Galatians 6:9, it says, don't get weary doing good. And my question is, like, according to this passage, how can you get weary doing good? I mean, isn't it just easy to do good deeds and acts of mercy to other people? What causes that tiredness and weariness? Just talk to each other and encourage one another in pursuing the good.